Hi there everyone, GuardianE here with another live reaction and first impression video for Fire Emblem Heroes. This time for the next set of special heroes to drop into the game in, I guess, a couple of days. We didn't get the March calendar until I think today. I think it actually just dropped. And we didn't get the silhouettes for this banner, so I actually wasn't expecting this trailer to drop as it did. It came as a huge surprise. I got a notification and then immediately jumped to my computer. I didn't see who was revealed or anything, but I also really wasn't prepared to record this. So yeah, dropping a special hero banner on a Saturday with no silhouettes is nothing sacred anymore, Intelligent Systems. Whatever, let's just get right into it. I can see that the title of the banner is Hop and Go Seek. It is going to be a bunny-themed Easter banner, which they're always pretty fun. I always really like them. I think they get some mixed reception because they're a little bit on the silly side, but I enjoy silly. I think silly can be fun. So let's get into it and see what they've got. Usually it's very fanciful, flamboyant, warming up the Spring Festival, special heroes to battle. Okay, I think first up we got a lady. Oh, hey! Prodigy in Bloom.
Spring is my favorite.
Delthea, okay. So I wonder if it is going to be a completely Valentia based or not. I don't know. That is a huge description. Wow. Attack speed, catch 4. The descriptions are so huge they can't even fit on one screen. That's a bad sign. That's like a bad sign. Fear the rabbit. Love that attack quote. Very, very fun. Who is this going to be? Sunny Smile. I don't recognize who this is. Oh, it's Maria. Okay. Okay, she's a flying axe user. Okay, following in Minerva's footsteps. I guess that makes sense. And who is this going to be? Is that Henry? Peculiar Egg.
So things can be fun.
I like the floppy ears. Very ornate, like vine design for the bow. He is probably going to be the 4-star focus or 4-star special unit of the banner. And then last up is going to be who? Oh, wow. Dazzling rabbits. Hello. We've got Tharja. Is that Sonya?
We look fine.
Yes, you do. Flying green tome unit. That's fantastic. That is a pair. Magic rabbits, attack speed unity. They look beautiful. Definitely the most eye-catching design of the entire banner. Hands down. Harmonized skill. We'll take a closer look at, of course, all the skills in the art in a second watch through, but yeah, it does look like there is a Valentia / Awakening theme together. I dig that.
We have a plan, right?
Yeah. So we do get to see it all in action here.
We're the ravishing.
I love Tharja's deadpan delivery of that. Hop and Go Seek paralogue story. And we can take a look at who is going to be the extra unit here. So there is a Lancer. Is that Luthier? It looks like Cavalry Lance Bunny Luthier to me. So wouldn't be surprised if that was already announced at this point. Exciting. Henry is, in fact, going to be the 4-star focus unit. It's going to be starting on the 7th and running for an entire month, essentially. And this, of course, just indicates that if you are a FEH Pass user, you are going to be able to spark on this banner. So backing it up here. So once again, starting on the 7th of March and going for an entire month until the 7th of April. Going to have Hop and Go Seek. No red focus unit on the banner at all. Henry is going to be colorless. We have Delthea as the blue. So it looks like she's going to maintain being a blue unit across her variations. And then, of course, we have the duo unit, or the Harmonic heroes in green, alongside Maria as a green. So they are going to be color sharing on that. And once again, Henry is going to be the 4-star focus unit of the banner. So out of the gate, for me, spoiler alert, I don't even have to look at their skills. I am going to go to the pity for that Harmonic duo. I love Tharja, I love Sonya, and I love their art here, and I love Bunnies. So And I love flyers. Like, it's like a perfect combination for me. So I'm absolutely going to go in until I can get those two, irrespective of anything else. But let's go ahead and rewind, take a closer look at the units themselves. Let's evaluate the banner objectively, as much as we can, as a whole, to see if this is ultimately a banner that I think is worth pulling on. So here is Delthea, Cavalry, Blue Tome user. I feel like that's a little disappointing just because... I mean, she's a different movement type, but we have regular Delthea, we have Fallen Delthea, they're both Blue Tome users as well, so not a whole lot of weapon color variation as far as the different variants for Delthea. The art is certainly cute, whimsical, on the younger side, a little bit babyfied. That is kind of Miwabe Sakura's style, their art style as a whole, and it does translate into, I would say, Delthea looking a little bit younger here. I do think the pastel color palette looks great. I think that the hat with the vest and the boots, the brown, all works coming together. I really like the grumpy bunny on her hat. I think that's really adorable. The floral pattern, as well as the actual flowers themselves adorning the outfit is really nice. So yeah, overall, I think the art's pretty thematically appropriate. Alright, so page 1 of 2 of Delthea's skills. A Bright Shell Egg is going to be her own unique tome, 14 might, has a killer slaying effect, and at start of turn inflicts -6 to speed and res on nearest foes within 5 spaces of unit through their next actions. If bonus is active on unit or penalty is active on foe, so either or, inflicts -6 to speed and res on foe during combat, and also... following effects will occur based on the value of total bonuses on unit plus value of total penalties on foe. If greater than or equal to 6, neutralize effects that prevent units' follow-up attacks. If greater than or equal to 18, foe cannot counterattack. Example, if unit has 6 bonus to attack and speed, and foe has -6 penalty to attack and speed, total calculated will be 24. Okay, that all makes some sense. Alright, so breaking that down, Killer Slaying Effect is always good. And then she has this debuff that's within 5 spaces of her, but it's limited to the unit that's closest. I just want to make that distinction. So it only affects, let's say that there are multiple units around her, one is within 3 spaces, and others within 4 spaces. She'll only debuff the one that is within 3 spaces. So that can be a little bit annoying if you're trying to target a specific enemy. Before we get into that, if a bonus or penalty is active on the foe, you just get a straight minus res speed and res in combat debuff. Very, very good. That means even if the debuff on the enemy is neutralized via an effect that they have, that does mean that you'll still get the in-combat, you should still get the in-combat debuff that can't really be neutralized. So that's very, very good. And again, the speed and the res debuff does mean that she is going to do more damage, and she's going to more easily double the enemy. So there are going to be these staggered or tiered effects based upon the number of penalties and buffs that are activated on Delthea and her opponent. And as long as you're above or equal to 6, neutralize effects that prevent units' follow-up attacks. So because her weapon has a built-in -6 to attack to res and speed and res, that does mean that at a base level, if she's going to attack into the unit that her weapon is debuffing, she's going to get a -12, or actually a 12 total to that count. So she's at least going to get that first effect, right? So that's nice. It's a little bit self-sufficient in that way, so that's certainly appreciated. The 18 is a little bit trickier, so that means that at the base level, if you have the 12, you're going to need to at least find another +6 or -6 somewhere. You're going to have to debuff the enemy and have an activated debuff on them and another -6, or have an activated buff on her +6, which would be much easier to do, because there are plenty of skills that would allow you to do that, as well as teammates, I'm sure, that could buff her to allow you to do that as well. So that's, honestly, it sounds like a more intimidating condition to meet than it actually is, and as long as you have the 18 count, foe cannot counterattack, and with the whole speed thing, and the neutralizing the ability to prevent her from follow-up attacking, that turns her into a brave unit. So you can think about it that way. She has a killer slaying effect, she has a host of debuffs to the enemy's res, and in addition to that, if she meets a certain condition, which certain builds should be very easy to do this, she'll double with impunity, and you can't prevent her from doubling, so she essentially has a powerful brave effect. Glimmer for the special naturally synergizes with Bright Shell Egg because you do get the -1 cooldown, so it's really only a 1 cooldown Glimmer, and if she is going to have that Brave effect active, that does mean she's going to proc Glimmer on the first initiation. Attack Speed Catch 4 for the A slot, that is an excellent A slot skill, and that is going to synergize naturally with Bright Shell Egg as well, because Bright Shell Egg has that innate debuff, that activated debuff on the enemy, and that does mean that it will activate at least one of the 2 conditions for the +7 to attack and speed, if not getting you to the +9 attack and speed if the enemy's HP is above 100% as well. Alright, moving right along, she has Speed Res Far Trace 3, so that's great because in order for her to have a Brave effect, she's going to have to outspeed her opponent, of course, and this is going to help with that, and it's also going to increase the amount of damage she does with the Res debuff on the enemy, and then you have that Kanto. That Kanto is very, very strong. Rouse attack speed 4 at start of turn if unit is not adjacent to an ally. Grants attack speed +6 and null panic to unit for 1 turn. Very, very good. It works in tandem with the rest of her kit because that's going to give her an activated buff, which she would need in order to help her meet the condition or all of the point values to maximize her weapon's potential. So that's going to work really, really well for that. It's one of the few C-slot skills that does grant an activated buff on the user. Alright, well, if it wasn't already obvious, she is going to be a force to be reckoned with. It's going to work just fine with this kit. This kit is great for her. It all works together, and is exactly what she's looking for to, maximize her damage output, and maximize her ability to get that Brave effect from her weapon. So, very well, I think, realized as a kit overall, and she's going to do well. And fear the rabbit. There it goes. Here is Maria following in the footsteps of Minerva. She is going to be an axe flyer like her sister, so that's nice. Art overall, very cutesy once again, similar to Delthea on this banner. A lot of cutesiness, which is nice. Again, pastel colors of the dress. It doesn't really look like she's changed that much from her default outfit. It is still her kind of traditional white dress almost, a little bit pastel blue mixed in there, but it does feel very reminiscent of her regular outfit. So not a huge departure in that way. She does, of course, have the green collar with like sort of the cuffs and the little adornments on the actual dress, and then of course you have the little bunny ears. You have the bunny ears propped up on the axe itself with the flowers, the yellow and purple flowers on the side, also very Easter-like. You have a little bit of an egg pattern on the axe itself. It looks like the actual hem of the dress has a little bit of a spotted pattern on it as well. I think this art is okay. It is certainly cute. I think it is in line with Maria. It doesn't really lean into the theme quite as much as I would like. It's not really that silly or fun, I guess. It feels a little bit too normal for the theme overall. But otherwise, I think it's okay. So she's got Pastel Poleaxe. This is going to be a unique axe for her. 16 might. Grants defense +3. So maybe Maria is going to be a defensive powerhouse. I don't know. Neutralizes effective against flying bonuses. Okay, alright. At start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, grants +5 to all stats to unit during combat. Deals damage equal to 20% of unit's defense. Reduces damage from foes' attacks by 20% of unit's defense, excluding AoE specials, and restores 7 HP to unit and allies within 2 spaces after combat. Alright, so a lot of sustain, some damage reduction, some hefty scaling with defense as well, so it does seem like, and of course the whole neutralizing effective against flying foes bonuses, that does lead me to believe that she is going to be a pretty tanky Wyvern unit. So breaking this down once again, neutralizing effective against flying bonuses, getting defensive boosts, HP threshold to get stat boosts across the board, and then getting like a mini bonfire. So she's going to want to stack on the defensive bonuses to herself to maximize this damage potential, but she gets a mini bonfire just by having the HP condition. And that's very solid. That's going to be very strong. That's going to be true damage as well. Reduces damage from foes' attacks by 20% of units' defense. So this isn't actually like a percent scaled damage reduction. It's a flat damage reduction based upon what her defense stat is. So it's one that scales with her defense. So let's say that she had 50 defense, for example. If she has 50 defense, including any buffs that she has going into combat and while in combat, that means that she's going to enjoy a 10 damage reduction, a flat 10 damage reduction. So whatever hit she sustains, it'll be subtracted by a straight 10 damage. So that's effectively what that means, not including AoE specials. and restores 7 HP to unit and allies within 2 spaces after combat. That's really great because oftentimes when you saw this effect early on, it would be, giving that heal to allies or giving that heal to yourself. It's healing both ways, and so that's going to be valuable from a support standpoint, as well as maintaining her sustain and maintaining her HP value, because she wants to maintain a certain HP threshold for the rest of her kit. So that's very, very good. Rally Speed Defense Plus for the assist, Attack Defense Push 4 for the A slot. So that is, of course, going to work very well to increase her damage potential by increasing the defense, which also scales with her weapon, with the mini bonfire, as well as overall just increasing her defenses as a whole. Now, the chip damage that she sustains after combat is a little problematic because, of course, she has the HP condition for push as well as the HP condition for her weapon. But remember that after combat, she heals 7 HP, so that does effectively neutralize the ding, the chip that she would sustain from the push 4 skill. Flow Flight 3, so this is new. If unit initiates combat, neutralize effects that prevent units' follow-up attacks during combat. Just straight up, okay? And also, if unit speed is greater than foe speed minus 10, deals damage during combat equal to 70% of difference between defense stats, if unit's defense minus foe's defense, and reduces damage from foes' attacks by 70% of that difference. Excludes AoE specials, min 0, max 7. So this is weird. It's a combination, a medley of different effects here. Alright, so this does a lot of things. At a base level at least, if she's player phasing, it neutralizes effects that prevent units' follow-up attacks during combat. That alone is actually pretty good. Like, that is a standalone element to the skill, not bad. But then it also has this condition of the speed being greater than or equal to foe speed minus 10. So I get the sense that Maria is going to have some decent speed, not amazing speed, but pretty decent speed, because the whole speed minus greater than foe's speed minus 10, it's a pretty generous condition there. It deals damage equal to, or during combat equal to 70% of the difference between defense stats. So as long as that condition is met, it goes to the defense for a second check. So the defense check is going to be whatever the difference is between Maria's defense and her enemy's defense. 70% of that is going to be added as damage during combat and also reduced from the foe's attack during combat. Now, it says the minimum 0 and max 7. It only says that, or it only has that at the end of the damage reduction, but I'm going to assume that it applies both ways, because every time we've seen this effect, it always has that condition. It always has that limitation. It always caps out at 7, typically. So that being the case, what you really want is your defense to be 10 over your opponent's in this instance, so you maximize the damage potential as well as the damage reduction, which is great, because that actually synergizes with Pastel Poleaxe, because that's going to do more damage based on the defense that she has over her opponent, just like the true damage that Pastel Poleaxe does based on her defense. And then it's also going to reduce damage. So yeah, I think that's actually a pretty fun and synergistic kit that she has going on here. I don't think it's going to be quite as overpowering and overbearing as Delthea's that we just looked at, but I do think it's well realized and well put together, and it is going to kind of carve out a niche for herself to be this really heavy-handed defensive unit, air unit on the battlefield that takes advantage of that defense, not only from a damage reduction perspective, but also from a damage output perspective. So pretty nice. I think that's actually a pretty nice kit. And here is Henry as a cavalry archer, bringing the silliness that I like from these Easter banners, these Spring Festival banners. Toby pulling through with it. I really like the ornate vine design of the bow. It's really eye-catching, and you have even the little flowers that are blooming off of it. I like the fact that he has the drooping dark bunny ears. Obviously, that works very well with his dark mage self in general. He has the collar as well that he's kind of carried over from his original incarnation. The arrow has that fat carrot at the end of it, and almost has like a broccoli look at the other side. I don't know, maybe that's just supposed to be like a forest or something like that, but it looks adequately silly. Love the poofy sleeves. You have the flamboyant vest. He has almost these jester's baubles coming off of the collar as well as the cape behind him. He has a little fluffy bunny tail actually hidden behind him too. And then he's rocking those skin-tight leggings. I respect it. The man looks good. Can't deny that. So Yeah, I think they did a great job with Henry. So let's take a look at what his 4-star special skills are going to be. And of course, as the 4-star special unit, that does of course mean that he is going to be a relatively easier merge project for folks out there that do want to get him to plus 10. So he's going to come with Carrot Tip Bow Plus. This is going to be an inheritable bow, 12 might, effective against flying foes. At start of combat, if foe's HP is greater than or equal to 75%, or penalty is active on foe. Grants attack defense plus 5 to unit during combat, and unit's first attack during combat deals damage equal to total defense and attack penalties on foe. Alright, that's an interesting bow. The HP greater than or equal to 75%, I wouldn't have loved that condition on the foe, except it's an either or with the penalty, and I do think it's probably going to be pretty easy to at least have one of those two active on the enemy that Henry is in combat with, as well as getting additional damage based on the penalties on the opponent. And I already see this synergizing with something like Attack Defense Menace, where you can inflict, -6 to each of those stats on the enemy, and you basically effectively get plus 12 damage on your first attack, which is not bad. So overall, it's a pretty good bow. I can definitely see its uses. Rally Defense Res Plus for the assist. Brazen Attack Defense 3. Attack Defense is actually the easiest Brazen to obtain. It's the most accessible one and has been from the start. So like Ares has Brazen Attack Defense 3 as a 4-star and has for years now, so not really a hugely coveted skill overall. It works fine, I think, with his kit, but I think just as skill fodder, it's not particularly desirable. And then Attack Defense Ruse 3, if Rally Assist is used by unit or target's unit, inflicts Attack Defense -5 and Guard on foes in cardinal directions of unit and target through their next action. So this is obviously meant to synergize a little bit, at least, with Carrot Tip Bow Plus by having some way of activating a penalty. There are better and easier ways of activating penalties than sacrificing your B-slot skill for a Ruse skill. I'm not the biggest fan of the Ruse skills. I feel like it's way too competitive of a slot to sacrifice so many different options for something like this. But all the same, it is a way to activate that effect for Carrot Tip Bow Plus. So overall, I think that really, if you're pulling for Henry, you're pulling because you like Henry, or because you want to plus 10 Henry, or you want copies of his bow because you have a specific plan in mind for that bow. But otherwise, not really that impressive of a kit, I would say. And here are going to be the Harmonic pair Dazzling Rabbits of Sonya and Tharja, looking absolutely magnificent, looking fine, as Sonya says herself. Like I said, I absolutely adore it when the rabbits, the Spring Festival bunnies, bring the silly, but I certainly also appreciate it when they bring the sexy, and that is what Sonya and Tharja are bringing with them today. They are going to be a green tome flyer. That's music to my ears. Kipu doing the art, doing a fantastic job. Kipu's been they've been on a roll lately. Early on, their art style has shifted from the beginning of the game to now. Early on, it was a lot of sort of larger heads and eyes. That was sort of the almost the trademark style of Kipu, but I do really enjoy and appreciate how they've shifted their style over time. It certainly fits my preferences a lot more. Both Sonya and Tharja are rocking slim-fit bodices and tights that accentuate their curves and charms. I like the color palette choices here for both Tharja and Sonya. It does borrow from each of their respective outfits. Tharja with the darker purple, almost the black, and then Sonya with a little bit more of the violet or maroon. I think it does really bring those in and marry them together. They look great together like that. I do appreciate that Sonya has the up rabbit ears, and that Tharja's a little bit gloomier, so of course, like Henry, she has the more floppy bunny ears behind her. They have the coattails, they have these little tresses and trails of some transparent fabric behind them as well. Their hair is flowing back. Their weapons, I guess, are rabbits in cages? I'm not entirely sure. I guess we'll get a closer look during their attack animation. I do like how they're a little up close and personal, kind of snuggly, almost begrudgingly on Tharja's side of things. It feels like Sonya kind of has her arm wrapped around Tharja, encouraging her to come closer. So that's nice. It does really feel like it runs congruent with their respective personalities. So I think that's great. So their weapon is magic rabbits. So I guess it really is those rabbits in the cages. 14 might green tome, it's going to be obviously unique to them, has a killer slaying effect. At start of turn 1, grant special cooldown count -2, unit can move to a space within 2 spaces of any ally within 2 spaces. I see. So that is going to be the Ninja Igren and the Halloween Noe type of effect, I think. If unit initiates combat or is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants attack +4, speed +6, and bonus to unit's attack equal to unit's max special cooldown count value ×3 during combat. Weird. That really is a magical weapon. That's a weird combination of things. So breaking it down, Killer Slaying effect is always going to be good. And then at the start of turn 1, grants special cooldown count -2. So that's very interesting. You often see that combination where you have the ability to chain specials or special spiral. So you often see that utilized with units that are infantry, because infantry can run special spiral, or if they have an innate skill that mirrors special spiral. Flyers obviously can't, so I'm curious how they remedy that. She is, of course, going to have, she has Luna for the special, so that combination is going to put Luna at a 0-turn special on turn 1. That does have value innately, but I am wondering if that is going to have any value outside of that, if she's going to be able to chain specials in any other way. Unit can move to a space within 2 spaces of any ally within 2 spaces. That means she has huge range. Depending on your positioning, she can reach almost everywhere on the map from where she is. So that's really, really potent. I love that mobility, that versatility. And if unit initiates combat or is within 2 spaces of an ally, that is an incredibly easy condition to meet. Grants attack +4 and speed +6. It's a little weird that they segmented it like that. I feel like it wouldn't have been overkill just to give +6 to both attack and speed. Like, I get that the next component boosts her attack, but I don't know. I mean, it's just 2 attack. I feel like they could have just given it to them. But regardless, attack +4, speed +6, and bonus to unit's attack equal to unit's max special cooldown count value ×3 during combat. So it doesn't matter what her special charge is. It's just what the max value is. In order to take advantage of all of the effects of Magic Rabbits, you would want a 3 cooldown special, more or less. So I guess what's sort of interesting to me is the Killer Slaying effect of the weapon actually technically reduces the damage that this part of the weapon deals, because the Killer Slaying effect effectively reduces the cooldown permanently. So the Luna is a 2-turn cooldown special from the 3 cooldown special, and that means that the additional damage here is just going to be +6 versus +9. There's nothing wrong with +6 attack, don't get me wrong. It's just an interesting combination and how they interact with each other. But so that does effectively mean that, at least from the specials that we have, because she has a Killer Slaying effect, you can range from a 1 cooldown special to a 4 cooldown special, right? Because she's always going to have -1 cooldown. So Ether would be a 5-turn special, right? And then you would have effectively 4 cooldown with the Killer Slaying effect. So that means that this element of the weapon can either do 3 additional damage, or give her 3 additional attack, or give her 12 additional attack. It's also sort of interesting that this might scale going forward with future specials that have more than 5 cooldown, maybe? I don't know. I mean, I could see it going forward. There could potentially be a special with, like, I don't know, a 10 cooldown special or something like that, where they might be able to take advantage of. I don't know. Attack speed unity for the A slot. That is an excellent A slot skill. Very easy condition, gives her a flat attack speed boost, and then additionally will also neutralize essentially penalties and make them work in her favor instead, giving her a buff. Chill defense res 2 for the B slot. That feels like a little bit of a throwaway skill. It doesn't really synergize particularly with the rest of her kit, so I don't really know exactly what that is intended to be used for. Maybe it's going to become clear with their Harmonic skill. Maybe it'll work on the defense somehow on the enemy. I'm not entirely sure, but as it currently stands, not really an impressive B-slot pick. Speed res hold. That's going to be new. That's a new skill. Inflicts speed res -4 on foes within 3 spaces during combat. Obviously, the range skills were intended to be used because they had the 2 space range, because regardless of whether you're a melee unit or a ranged unit, you'd be able to take advantage of the range effect. Now, I actually really appreciate the fact that they increased the range of the range skill to the hold skill to be 3 spaces, because that actually increases the versatility and the flexibility of different flyer formations. I just think that's really valuable, because the range skills as they were actually pretty limiting in that, you know, it was kind of a toss-up. If you were running a flyer team, the rain skills versus like the goads and the wards, they were almost on equal footing. I mean, maybe not 100%, but there was definitely pros and cons to each of them. Obviously, with the rain skills, they apply to all units, irrespective of if they're flyers, if your teammates are flyers. But the hold skills here, I think the fact that it increases the range, it just opens the door to, again, more flexibility on the battlefield, which I think is very valuable. So I think they are going to be very potent going forward, so I'm excited to see their introduction. So yeah, very interesting kit, very unique and fun. I appreciate that element of it because her weapon has a lot of good things built into it, has that increased mobility, has that killer slaying effect, has the insta cooldown, so the insta charge, has like the different buffs to her offensive capabilities. The unity skill is excellent, the hold skill is excellent. So I think they have a good deal of compelling things going for them. I don't think they're the most groundbreaking unit or anything like that. That's yet to be seen. I don't know what their harmonic skill is. So let's keep going. But I do like the look of their kit. So here is the attacking art. Once again, I think they look phenomenal. I actually love how the bunny is like leaping out of the cage up there. It's a very cute touch. Really appreciate it. They're actually holding hands. That is super sweet. I like that Tharja is maintaining kind of her gloomy disposition. Sonya has that smirk, that smile on her face. From here, you can actually, I didn't even notice that there was kind of a thigh strap around their legs as well, because you have the little kind of cotton ball wreath around their thighs. So that's a nice little touch too. Yeah, I think, honestly, I think they look great. And oh my god, the attacking animation has the little bunnies, these ethereal bunnies just like spinning and creating a magic tornado. I don't know, it looks really cool. Harmonized skill. So grant special cooldown count -2 to units and allies from the same titles as unit. Grant attack +6 and resonance blades to unit and allies from the same titles as unit for 1 turn. This skill can only be used once per map. Yeah, I think this skill is great. It certainly doesn't give any more of a look into why they chose that particular B-slot skill for them. That's totally fine. Again, I think that's just going to probably be replaced by a trace skill by most people's counts. But the skill as a whole, granting a special cooldown count -2 that you can just activate is very strong in general. It is, of course, limited to units within the 2 games, Valentia, as well as Awakening, but that being said, it's a very strong effect. Resonance Blades is one of the earliest effects, one of the earliest status buffs that were given by duo skills in this game, and it's still powerful. It's still powerful today, and the rest of the kit demonstrates why it's so powerful, because it's a separate effect or a separate buff from the activated buffs of like grants +6. So you get the grants +6, and then the Resonance Blades also gives an additional +4 to attack and speed as part of the effect that can't really be neutralized. So very, very good. That special cooldown count -2 is going to be very, very valuable. And it's going to work very well for them because, again, one of the concerns I had was that with their kit and with their weapon, they'd only be able to take advantage of the insta-proc of their special on turn 1. And then afterwards, unlike a lot of infantry units that can take advantage of Special Spiral, they were kind of left without those advantages anymore. With the Harmonized skill, that actually gives them another insta-charge to their special per map, which is very valuable. So I do think that helps them a lot in that regard. It's only limited to 1 time per map, so they only get 2 insta-charges, but that's still valuable, especially since it gives everybody else a potential insta-charge in your team, depending on the composition, provided that they do have the appropriate titles. So yeah, I definitely see the value in this skill, and that's all, of course, going to also boost the offensive capabilities with those Resonant Blades, as well as the +6 attack. So evaluating the banner as a whole, the Harmonic duo, I think, has a lot of utility and versatility and sort of uniqueness built into them, which I really, really appreciate. That being said, as far as like a strict powerhouse type of character, I do feel like Delthea might be the strongest on the banner, just because of her role as essentially a brave cavalry unit. The conditions to meet that goal are very easy for her to meet. Very, very minor adjustments need to be made for her to fulfill that role of a brave cavalry unit, and a very powerful hitting brave cavalry unit. So, brave cavalry tome unit, I should say. So that being the case, I feel like Delthea is certainly a prize of the banner. I think the Harmonic duo is a prize as well in their own capacity, just because of what they bring to the table as far as the Harmonic skill of the -2 cooldown, as well as the 2 insta-charges, and the unique ability and mobility that they provide as a flyer unit with that enhanced range from their weapon. Maria, not really that impressed by, to be honest with you. I think she is going to be fun to use because she does have that kind of stacking on advantages based upon her defense, and that's what she's going to be centered around. But that being said, I don't think she kind of holds a candle to the other two units that we just talked about. And Henry, yeah, I mean, he's the 4-star special unit of the banner. I think his weapon is actually pretty interesting. The rest of his kit, not quite as much, but he is going to be a relatively easy merge project. Now, that being said, if you're not fans of the characters, I definitely do not think this banner is a must-summon banner by any means. We have a lot of competitive banners out. You've got the Hero Fest. We're going to be getting an all-green banner for A Hero Rises. That is confirmed, which is an extreme value, even if you hate the characters. There's so much value. The rate of getting a Focus 5-star is so big when you summon on green, and at the very least, you'll get good fodder. So again, there's lots of orb pits all around, orb traps, whatever you want to call it. So that being the case, there's a lot of competing interest for your orbs. So you may want to pass on this if you're not a fan of the specific characters. Now, for me personally, from a completely subjective point of view, I am 100% going to try to spark for Sonya and Tharja, the Harmonic duo. I think they look absolutely lovely. I like their unique utility, and they're a flyer unit. I appreciate all of those things very, very, very much. Of course, I don't have a lot of orbs, so we'll have to see how that ends up going, but I will try. I will try my best to get them. But let me know in the comments below if you're excited for Hop and Go Seek, if you're excited for any particular unit on this banner, if you're going to pass on it, who your targets are going to be, and if you are passing, where you're going to be spending your orbs instead. Hopefully you all enjoyed the video. If you did, please feel free to leave us a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more Fire Emblem Heroes content. We thank you all so much for watching and for taking time out of your day to spend with us. We really do appreciate it. Certainly hoping you're all staying safe, healthy, secure, and united out there, and wishing the very, very best for you, your family, and your friends. And until next time, let's protect those skies.